The gondola glided silently through the misty waters of the Venetian Lagoon, its rhythmic swaying lulling me into a false sense of tranquility. But as the silhouette of Poveglia Island emerged through the fog, a chill ran down my spine. They called it the Island of Ghosts for a reason, and as I drew closer I could almost feel the weight of countless souls pressing down upon me. The tales I had heard, whispers of plague victims and tortured patients, echoed in my mind, each one more chilling than the last. My curiosity had always been my greatest strength, yet here, on the cusp of the unknown, it felt like a double-edged sword. What had started as a casual interest in Venetian history had quickly morphed into an obsession with Poveglia. Friends and colleagues warned me against this solo expedition, recounting stories of visitors who had returned forever changed, or not at all. Yet here I was, compelled by an irresistible force to uncover the truth of this haunted isle. As the gondolier's pole touched the island's ancient dock, the air grew colder, and the smell of decay filled my nostrils. "Are you sure you want to do this?" the gondolier asked, his voice tinged with both concern and resignation. I nodded, unable to speak, and stepped onto the island, my heart pounding with a mix of fear and anticipation. Poveglia was silent, save for the distant lapping of the lagoon against its shores. The buildings, though crumbling and overgrown, stood as mute witnesses to centuries of suffering and death. I made my way towards the heart of the island, where the remnants of the old quarantine station and asylum awaited. Each step felt heavier than the last, as if the island itself was trying to warn me away. The entrance to the main building loomed before me, its doorway dark and foreboding. With a deep breath I crossed the threshold, the temperature plummeting as I entered. The hallway stretched out like a gaping maw, and as I moved forward my footsteps echoed ominously off the walls. The dim light filtering through broken windows cast eerie shadows, transforming the peeling wallpaper and shattered tiles into grotesque apparitions. I paused to gather my bearings, my flashlight beam cutting through the gloom. My research had told me that this building was used to house plague victims in the 14th century. And later in the 19th century, it had been repurposed as an insane asylum. Thousands had died here, their souls forever trapped in this purgatory. It was said that their screams could still be heard and that dark shadows roamed the halls at night. I had dismissed these stories as mere superstition, but now, standing here, I wasn't so sure. I continued down the hallway, the oppressive silence broken only by the occasional scurrying of rats. As I passed what must have been the old infirmary, a sudden blood-curdling scream echoed through the building. I froze, my heart racing, as the sound reverberated through the walls, seeming to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. My rational mind struggled to explain it, perhaps a trick of the wind or an animal in distress, but deep down I knew it was neither. Shaking off the terror that threatened to paralyze me, I pressed on, determined to reach the infamous bell tower. Legend had it that a deranged doctor had conducted horrific experiments on the asylum's patients there, and that he had eventually thrown himself from the tower, driven mad by the ghosts of those he had tortured. As I neared the tower, the atmosphere grew even more oppressive, the air thick with an indescribable sense of dread. The tower's entrance was blocked by a heavy wooden door, but it yielded to my push with a groan of protest. Inside, the air was stifling, filled with the scent of mildew and decay. The staircase spiraled upwards into darkness, each step creaking ominously under my weight. I climbed slowly, my flashlight flickering as if the very batteries were succumbing to the island's malevolent influence. Halfway up, I was overcome by a wave of nausea, and the walls seemed to close in around me. I clung to the railing, my visions swimming with ghostly images of past horrors. Faces appeared in the cracked plaster, contorted with pain, eyes wide with terror. A whispering chorus filled my ears, the words unintelligible but filled with anguish. I shut my eyes tight, willing the visions away, and when I opened them, the faces were gone, leaving only the cold, damp stone. At the top of the stairs, the room opened into the bell chamber. The massive bell, long, silent, hung like a grim sentinel over the island. I approached it cautiously, my flashlight casting long shadows that seemed to move of their own accord. As I reached out to touch the bell, a sudden chill swept through the room and I felt a hand on my shoulder. I spun around, but there was no one there, only the empty darkness. Fear tightened its grip on me and I began to question my sanity. Had I really felt that touch, or was my mind playing tricks on me? I backed away from the bell, my nerves fraying with each passing second. The tower felt alive, as if it were watching me, waiting for me to make a mistake. Desperate to escape, I hurried down the stairs, my footsteps echoing like a drumbeat in the confined space. At the base of the tower, I paused to catch my breath, the air still thick with an oppressive sense of foreboding. I needed to get out of this place, to leave behind the horrors that lurked in its shadows. But as I made my way back towards the dock, the island seemed to conspire against me. The paths I had walked before now twisted and turned in ways I didn't recognize. Buildings loomed out of the darkness, their windows like empty eyes staring into my soul. The whispers returned, growing louder, more insistent, and I felt the presence of unseen figures closing in around me. Panic set in and I broke into a run, my flashlight bobbing wildly as I tried to find my way. The screams of the past seemed to follow me, growing louder with each step. Shadows darted at the edges of my vision, and I could feel the weight of countless eyes watching my every move. Finally, I burst out of the maze of buildings and onto the dock. The gondola was still there, the gondolier waiting with a look of concern etched on his face. I stumbled towards him, breathless and shaken. "We need to leave," I gasped, my voice trembling. The gondolier nodded without a word and pushed off from the dock. As we glided away from the island, the oppressive atmosphere began to lift, and the whispers and screams faded into the distance. I looked back at Poveglia, its dark silhouette disappearing into the mist, and felt a shiver of relief and lingering fear. I never spoke of what I had experienced on Poveglia Island. The horrors I witnessed there were too real, too visceral, to be dismissed as mere legend. The island's tortured souls had left their mark on me, and I knew I would never be the same. Years later, I still wake in the dead of night, my mind replaying the screams and shadows of that cursed place. Poveglia Island remains a haunting memory, a dark chapter in my life that I can never fully escape. The ghosts of the past are very real, and they still roam the forgotten corners of our world, waiting for the curious and the brave to uncover their stories. As I write this, I feel the chill of Poveglia's shadows once more, a reminder of the island's enduring curse. The truth is out there, lurking in the darkness, waiting to be discovered, but be warned, some mysteries are better left buried, for the price of uncovering them may be more than you can bear. If you enjoyed this haunting journey into the shadows of Poveglia Island, don't forget to like, share and comment below. Let us know your thoughts and if you have any spine-chilling experiences of your own. Subscribe to our channel for more terrifying tales from around the world. Join us as we continue to uncover the most haunted places and the eerie stories that surround them. Stay curious, stay spooked. Until next time, beware of the shadows.